it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines, we have President Gele receives the American President's National Security Advisor. For the international scene, European Union adopt a carbon tax at its borders. Welcome to our newsroom. The President of the Republic receives the U.S. President National Security Advisor on the sidelines of the Africa-USA Leaders Summit. The President of the Republic receives the U.S. President's National Security Advisor, Jack Sullivan. During this meeting between the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, and the U.S. National Security Advisor addressed the several issues of common interest between the two countries, especially in terms of security and defense, also ways and means to further strengthen bilateral relations between the U.S. and Djibouti. The sustained collaboration maintained between the Republic of Djibouti and the United States around the process of increasing the level of peace, security, and stabilization of the region was also on the menu of discussions between the President and the U.S. Presidential Advisor for National Security. Note that the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, participated in the sidelines of his African peers, the summit of the U.S.-Africa leaders, whose main objective is to consolidate the privileged relations between our countries and the U.S. in terms of defense, economy, education, entrepreneurship, and investment. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, the Ambassador of Djibouti to the U.S., Mohammed Ziad Douale, and the diplomatic advisor to the President, Ms. Fathia Jamaoudi, took part in this audience. Prime Minister and Head of Government, the acting Head of Government, His Excellency Abdul Qadir Kamel Mohammed, received late morning the new EU Ambassador to Djibouti, Ms. Sylvie Tabissi. The new diplomat told the PM of the warm welcome she has received since she took office. She indeed highlighted her willingness to further strengthen the ties and partnerships between the Republic of Djibouti and EU. The Prime Ministers and Head of Government, the acting Head of Government, Abdul Qadir Kamel Mohammed, welcomed in turn the new diplomat and promised his full availability during his term in the Republic of Djibouti. This face-to-face meeting was held in the presence of the Director of the Prime Minister's Office, Ali Silla Abdallah, the Director of Communication at the Primacy, Shukri Ali Boulale, and the Chargé d'Affaires of the EU, Mr. Fabrice Basile. The Institute of Life Science of CERD, in partnership with the Directorate of Agriculture and Forestry, organized this morning a scientific conference on the ceremony of the celebrations of the World Soil Day in the conference room of CERD. The World Soil Day 2022 on the theme Soils for Nutrition. This scientific conference was chaired by the Minister of Higher Education and Research, Dr. Nabil Mohammed Ahmed, and was attended by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Agriculture, Ibrahim Almi, the General Director of the CERD, Mr. Jaluddin Mohammed, the representative of the Food Agriculture Organization in Djibouti, the representative of the Global Soil Partnership, researcher farmers. This scientific conference is part of the celebration of the World Soil Day, celebrated every year in December. The World Soil Day aims to raise awareness of the importance of maintaining intact ecosystems by addressing the growing challenges of soil management, raising awareness, and encouraging civil society to improve soil fertility. For his part, the General Manager of the CERD, Dr. Jaluddin Mohammed, said that the World Soil Day aims to raise awareness of the importance of maintaining intact ecosystems by addressing the growing challenges of soil management, raising awareness, and encouraging civil society to improve soil fertility. For his part, the Secretary General of the Agriculture Department, Mr. Ibrahim Elmi, said that the World Soil Days aims to raise awareness of the importance of maintaining intact ecosystems by addressing the growing challenges of soil management, raising awareness and encouraging civil society to improve soil fertility. For his part, the Minister of Higher Education and Research, Dr. Nabil Mohammed Ahmed, said that the World Soil Days aims to raise awareness of the importance of maintaining intact ecosystems by addressing the growing challenges, the awareness and encouraging civil society to improve soil fertility. At the invitations of the Minister Delegate in charge of decentralization, His Excellency Qasim Harun Ali, missions of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, ECA, arrived in Djibouti. A team of experts composed of David Zimana, a specialist in legal identity, and Miss Violette Kinutial Nyambura, legal identity specialist, is supported by the national consultant, Mr. Abdurrahman Rayale. The minister welcomed the ECA team and then recalled the mandate of his department in general, focusing on the issues of civil registration. The civil registration system, which is a competence transferred to the town hall and the commune in the capitals and to the regional councils in the regions, involves several actors and institutions. The minister recalled, therefore, harmonizing and coordinating this system with the elaboration of an improvement strategy, and even better, with a national civil registration strategy, by putting on the table all the stakeholders, governmental as well as technical partners, is the final objective is we are looking for. Commented Qasim Harun Ali. This is why we called on the ECA, whose mandate includes supporting countries to improve their civil registration and vital statistics systems. After the reception at the airport, the athletes were given a warm drink organized by the Secretary of State in charge of sport, His Excellency Hassan Mohammed Kamil, at the Guled Stadium. The Djiboutian athletes, their parents, and their coaches and supervisors, as well as several personalities, took part in this buffet. The Minister of Sports, His Excellency Hassan Mohammed Kamil, presented his congratulations to all athletes, all sports disciplines, for their brilliant performance and their historic achievement in the register of participation in the games of CGSOE, winning 11 medals, reaffirming his full support and encouragement to the brilliant athlete. The minister wished them more success and victories in the upcoming sports event, the goal being to carry even higher the national color. This Wednesday, December 14th, was held at the validation workshop of the evaluations of the National Social Protection Strategy 2018-2022. This workshop, chaired by the State Secretary General of the Ministry of Social Affairs Solidarity, Ms. Amina Ahmed Warsama, was attended by several development partners such as the World Food Programme, UNDP, UNICEF, the Ministries of Education, Environment, and Health. The National Social Protection Strategy 2018-2022 has been designated in line with the priority of the SCAPE and the government's vision is to 2035 in a comprehensive approach aimed at strengthening social protection systems and covering the entire vulnerable population of Djibouti. At the request of the Ministry of Social Affairs Solidarity, MAS, in partnership with the UN agencies, this strategy, which is due to expire in 2022, was evaluated by a team of national and international experts in June and July 2022. This evaluation examined the relevance and performance of the strategy during the review of a period, particularly in terms of policy, development, legal and juridical frameworks, social programs, coverage, and implementation mechanisms. The work of the workshop on strengthening weather and climate synergies ended in style today, late morning at the Sheraton Hotel, organized by the IGAD Climate Predictions and Application Centers, ICPAC. in close collaboration with the National Meteorological Agency, and this is within the framework of the co-production of climate services for East Africa project funded by the European Union's Horizon 2020 and innovation programs in collaboration with the Accra programs and the Norwegian capacity. This workshop was spread over 4 days from 11 to 14 December 2022. The objective of the workshop is to explore mutual interests and establish a progressive partnership between policymakers from government agencies, private sectors, and journalists in East Africa. In addition,
for participating in this synergy building training workshop. It's not the first time that we organize this type of event, but this one remains in my mind because I have the privilege to understand and speak Somali. This was an amazing event, and the interaction between the Met Office, the Met offices in the region, other stakeholders, such as policymakers, media, were very important stakeholder in the fight against climate change and provision of climate services in the region.
now listen to the General Manager of the National Meteorological Agency, Mohammed Ismail Noor.
I'm very excited. I cannot speak today because I'm very happy. It was the first time that we organized this kind of workshop. You know, two things is very important: the decision maker and the journalist. These people transfer our information, meteorological information, weather information to the media. 40 people was here from Somaliland, from Somalia, and from Djibouti. And it's the first time also, I repeat, this kind of workshop held in Djibouti. I want to say that the weather information is very important. I always say the weather information, climate weather information, is the backbone of the whole social activity of each country, not only Djibouti, everywhere. When you have the information, you can plan, you can plant, you can build, you can transfer, you can do everything. So I thank UK Met Office, ICPAC, CONFER, and NOCAP to organize this kind of workshop. And also I kindly request them, don't stop. I think it's the beginning. We continue to be one family.
A delegation led by the General Director of the National Police, Colonel Abdurrahman Ali Kahin, is currently on a working visit to Kuwait, accompanied by the Ambassador of Djibouti to Kuwait, Abdul Qadir Hussein Umar. Colonel Abdurrahman Ali Kahin was received on Monday, December 12, 2022 by his Kuwaiti counterpart, General Anwar Abdulatif Al-Barjis, Director General of the Police, on Tuesday, November 13, 2022. The General Director of the National Police also met with the Director General of General Intelligence, General Muhammad Abdallah Al-Ubaidi. In the afternoon of the same day, the Director General of Djibouti Police visited the Kuwait Police Academy, where he was welcomed by General Mahdi Al-Ajmi. During these talks and various working meetings, many bilateral points of interest were discussed. The officials of both countries agreed to collaborate and establish a mechanism of coordination and direct communication between the two institutions. It was agreed to establish a technical cooperation, offer training, exchange experience and information. On the regional and international level, the authorities of both countries expressed their willingness to combine their efforts in the fight against human trafficking, drugs, money laundering, and terrorism. The ceremony to award the certificate of training on mechanisms and equipment for fighting and rescue in favor of the young members of the civil defense of the Republic of Djibouti as part of the culmination of a 3-week training granted by the General Directorate of Saudi Civil Defense in favor of young elements of the Djiboutian civil defense composed of 34 people. A ceremony of awarding training certificate took place at the headquarters of the General Authorities of Saudi Civil Protection in Riyadh. Saudi Arabia on December 8, 2022, in the presence of the Director General of Civil Protection of Saudi Arabia, Dr. Hamoud bin Sulaiman Al-Farawi, Hamoud bin Sulaiman Al-Farajat, of Ambassador of Djibouti in Riyadh, Mr. Diayuddin Said Bamakrama. This training consists in providing training on firefighting and rescue mechanisms and equipment in crisis theater. The latter is the second in a series of trainings, the first of which was successfully held in 2017, and thus in line with continued bilateral cooperation between the Djiboutian and Saudi Arabian civil defense. Al-Rahma Hospital in Balbalau carried out a free medical convoy for the treatment of lip deformities of HAL lip in favor of 40 people, mainly young children and youth. This charity project, funded by the NGO Al-Rahma of Kuwait State, which was launched in 2010, was implemented by the plastic surgery consultant Dr. Muhammad Al-Khulaybi, who came from outside Djibouti, and Dr. Ahmed Osman, ENT consultant at the Al-Rahma Hospital. The technical advisor of the Ministry of Health, Mr. Abu Bakr Hosh, went this morning to the Al-Rahma Hospital to see closely the health conditions of the beneficiaries of this medical caravan. He was received by the regional directors of the NGO Al-Rahma in Djibouti, Mr. Abdul Ghani Al-Qurashi, and his close collaborators. This humanitarian initiative is a continuation of the medical convoy carried out by Al-Rahma Hospital over the past 12 years, to support the efforts of the Ministry of Health to provide specialized medical care to patients in various specialties. The representative of the Ministry of Health, Abu Bakr Hosh, in a brief speech, expressed the fruitful cooperation between his ministry and Rahma Hospital in the field of health. He affirmed the tangible importance of this free medical convoy for the treatment of repair of death lip, and which leads to persistent respiratory infections and also affects food swallowing, feeding, and other problems. It is worth noting that since 2010, Al-Rahma Hospital in Djibouti has conducted medical convoy in cleft lip surgery, the number of beneficiaries of which has reached a total of 600 people. A historic night tonight. The Atlas Lions, the Moroccan team, will play for the first time in the semi-finals against France, a night followed by the entire African continent, the Arabian Peninsula, Muslim countries, and the world. Will the Lions of Atlas manage to realize their dream and the dream of all Africans? Listen.
The reason why I support Morocco is that because Morocco is the only African country that reached in the semi-final, and at the same time, Morocco is a very qualified team, very wonderful team, and to tell you the truth, the reason that Morocco is going to win this evening, I used to watch in the beginning of this match, so many African players attended the match, attended the World Cup.
For the international scene, climate, the European Union adopts a carbon tax at its borders. His mechanisms will subject imports from the most polluting sectors to EU environmental standards, where manufacturers are required to buy rights to pollute. The European Parliament and EU member states announced on Tuesday, December 13, that they had adopted an unprecedented mechanism to green Europe's industrial imports by charging for the carbon emissions associated with their production, commonly referred to as a border carbon tax. This mechanism is not a tax as such. It will subject imports from the sectors deemed to be the most polluting: steel, aluminium, cement, fertilizers, and electricity, but also hydrogen, to EU environmental standards, where manufacturers are required to buy to pollute with the prices of a ton of COD skyrocketing. The idea is to avoid ecological dumping. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.